headlines, Prime Minister Manila said government must take decisive actions to strengthen and diversify trade relationships with more partners as tariffs imposed by the U.S. is questioned in Parliament. The Special Economic Zone bill is now in its committee stage. And Solomon Islands officially launched its first ever collective management organization called the Solomon Islands Performing Rights Organization. Hello, you're watching SIBC's TV News Bulletin. I'm Andrea Mahanwa. The national government must take decisive actions to strengthen and diversify trade relationships with more partners. Prime Minister Jeremiah Manila made the comment when responding to questions raised in Parliament about the tariffs imposed by the United States and its impacts on trade with Solomon Islands. Manila re-emphasized regional cooperation and trading as a means to better cushion the economy in the event of external shocks.
What we should do as a government, especially in terms of policy, is important. And what is happening with regards to the tariff, it means that the government must take decisive action to strengthen and diversify our trade relationship and partners with more partners, and while reinforcing domestic industries to minimize reliance on external factors. It is also important, Mr. Speaker, as the Foreign Minister has pointed out, that we now enhance regional cooperation in terms of the various trading arrangements that we have. We need to do more on that front, trade with each other, so that in the event of shocks, we can better cushion our economies. But it also means in terms of trade going forward, investing in robust infrastructure and fostering economic self-sufficiency that will not only fortify economy but also create long-term resilience against unpredictable tides of global trade.
Prime Minister Manila says government is cognizant of the need to take action with regards to policies on trade and utilizing the regional and sub-regional markets.
These policy matters that the government is well aware of, and we are really cognizant, and the need to take action is there. It's not only now, but also going forward in terms of trade, so that we can better cushion our economy in terms of the external shocks that are coming. We are also cognizant that the US is talking with its major partners, with China, with Canada, with Mexico, and I think there is some movement on the positive side going forward for those economies. But indirectly, we will experience also impacts, because when our other major partners are feeling the impact, like China, and Australia, others, at the end of the day, that will cascade down to us as well. So we are also cognizant of that. And of course, apart from tariffs, there are other US programs that we've been talking about, and we are waiting for the 90 days period to come. Then we know our way going forward. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thought I'd just add those, that as a government, we are very cognizant of the need to take actions, especially in terms of the trade and utilizing our regional and sub-regional markets.
The Special Economic Zone SEZ Bill 2024 has moved into its committee stage following its second reading in Parliament. Sharon Anau reports.
The Special Economic Zone Bill 2024 has moved into its committee stage following its second reading in Parliament today. Delivering the closing statement for the bill's second reading, Minister of Commerce, Labour, Industry and Immigration, Honourable Jamie Vokia, said the SEZ Bill 2024 comprises of 101 clauses, 12 parts and 4 schedules. He emphasized that a clause within the bill cannot be interpreted in isolation.
This bill, the Special Economic Zone Bill 2024, hemigaram 101 clauses, 12 parts and 4 schedules. If you remember Mount Sinai, 10 commandments no more for world on the tablets of stone. This one, 101 clauses. for developing economy of this country. Now, the objectives of the bill are clearly outlined under Clause 4 and purposes under Clause 7. Number 1, in understanding and interpreting a provision of any law, Section 9 of the Interpretation and General Provisions Act, Cap 85, applies. Every clause must be read in context. A clause provision cannot be read on its own. It must be read together with the provisions below and above. A provision cannot be interpreted in a vacuum, in isolation of the rest of the bill.
Honourable Vokia, in addressing criticism from some members of Parliament, stated that while the bill may not be perfect, it is a crucial starting point to address the country's ongoing economic challenges. He said the bill must be enacted and operationalised before adjustments can be made to better tailor it to the country's specific needs.
The Bills and Legislation Committee report calls for revenue modelling. I concurred and with my colleague Minister of Finance, where he stated rightly in his presentation, and I quote, "We must pass this bill before we can do modelling. We have to start somewhere. A lot of data that we must need to know. What is important at this first step is that this bill must go through. From A to Z, we must be real. We do not have data to enable us to come up with a model. We are yet to decide on the site as well as the sector. Hence, the bill has to progress step by step. It is not practical. Any modelling for now is a dream," end quote. That's from the Minister of Finance. Responding to Recommendation 17 IRD, by 2026, we'll have the human capacity of 121 to 254 new recruitments by 2026.
SIBC News understands the bill's committee stage hearing is set to resume tomorrow. Sharon Nanal, SIBC TV.
Still on the SEZ bill, despite concerns of an unlevel playing field for businesses in the country, the Special Economic Zone bill provisions to have all businesses accessing the zones, once they are established, is a win for all. Sharon now with the details.
Despite ongoing concerns over a potentially unlevel playing field for businesses, the provision in the Special Economic Zone SEZ bill that allows all businesses to access the zones once established has been described as a win for all. Former Solomon Islands Chamber of Commerce and Industry SIBC Chair and current Minister for Infrastructure Development, Honourable Ricky Fuo, made the statement in an interview with SIBC TV today. Honourable Fuo acknowledged that the concerns raised by the business community are genuine. However, he emphasized that the country stands to gain more if the SEZ bill is passed and implemented effectively.
But most so importantly, I think what we need to understand now is that the SEZs have invited for everyone. So basically, the locals can participate in those areas and they can invest in it. In terms of unlevel playing field there, that concern is a genuine concern. However, like our private sector can also invest in these areas. The concern of an unlevel playing field have not really big none of that because before like compete with that industry or check out. So the main purpose of this is so the government is moving towards, we're trying to move towards more decentralizing some of the services, some of the industries, because right now, as you're aware, everything's centered here along Honiara, which kind of, I mean, it's understandable because all the infrastructures are here. So that's the purpose of that, is so that it make them attractive there, so that some fall a lot in here, or businesses here, so go invest there. And most importantly, create jobs for people who reside in the provinces here, so that it means limiting the urban, the rural-urban migration. In terms of the private-public partnership, it may like looking to or businesses, the government will be creating incentives for these businesses, like for example, tax credits, where workers help build your infrastructure and that gets accredited to their tax and stuff like that. So I think the unleveling playing field is no really big issue. Whereas if you may let them know what direct investors come in straight number, they can invest anywhere, then that's the biggest concern, because they're about competing with the small boys who stay around that area. But if you designate a certain area number for what come in, that's for that industry, like for manufacturing, or certain area number for tourism, also, I believe that it should be okay for email project. And it also gives an opportunity for the private sector to for going to invest in these places.
In addressing the issue of enforcement and transparency within the SEZs, Honorable Fuo assured that the necessary support will be provided to the relevant regulatory bodies.
As we all know, enforcement in this country is a big issue, but it's something that I believe that we are slowly working on improving. Like we mentioned before, so these zones are going to be controlled by the customs. So they look after, apart from the authority, the customs look after like what comes in, what goes out, enforcement and all that. So I think with these specific community zones, the government is committed to ensuring that by put a little bit resources more customs for collecting. And not only that, but the revenue that's going to be earned from these zones will also help us beef up our control and our enforcement. But yeah, that's a very genuine question. And like me tell him earlier, once this roll out, by me looking at flaws, what ways when we can improve and all of that. So I have really hope for this bill, because we want to graduate out of the LDC, and we need to beef up our revenue, income and all of that to help with our government service deliveries. And so immediately for start.
Honorable Fuo added, as the Minister of MID, his ministry stands ready to support the implementation of the bill in terms of needed infrastructure.
This SEZ will be focusing on mainly places where infrastructure is already in place. So I think primarily then we start. Then we slowly roll out, and slowly the Ministry of Infrastructure will slowly redirect them investments blame where next place where I would like starting. But all of these SEZs will be operating in places that have the basic essential services or infrastructures already in place. So which a lot of our headquarters or provincial capitals, they already have the necessary infrastructures on it. But I'm hard for me start no me go do SEZ or Renbel or Temo too. It won't work, because that will take a lot of infrastructure to build all those things. So I think, as my fellow colleagues have stated, we're going to start now at the place where the necessary infrastructures are already in place. And where there is gaps, that's where the PPP comes in. And I hope the government will, I believe the government will be creating incentives too for boosting up that one.
Sharon Nanal, SIBC TV.
Today marks a history and a major milestone for local artists, musicians, producers, and the wider music industry, as Solomon Islands officially launched its first ever collective management organization called the Solomon Islands Performing Rights Organization, or SIPRO, in Honiara. The new body will oversee royalties and safeguard the creative rights of musicians and artists nationwide. Simon Tavake files the story.
It's the dawn of a new era for the music industry in the country, with the establishment of a governing body to safeguard the rights of musicians, the Solomon Islands Performing Rights Organization, or SIPRO. This historic milestone marks the realization of a long-standing initiative led by the Solomon Islands government through the Ministry of Culture and Tourism and the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs, with support from UNESCO. The initiative began in 2015, led by the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, in consultation with the Solomon Islands government.
In 2015, one fala IP strategy na made by WIPO in consultation with the Solomon Islands government. under that for strategy, one for recommendation na for improve status below IP low country believe is for make one for CMO, collective management organization. So today mark the achievement of that recommendation. So to musicians, I encourage you to become a member, because now by migarem a voice, an organization where by himself talk about our rights, and the main one is it can go into contracts, licenses, and at the end of the day, royalties for musicians.
It is a dream come true to establish the country's first ever collective management organization, more than 100 years since the first Copyright Act was introduced in 1912.
We had our first Copyright Act back in 1912, which is more than 100 years ago. What that has happened today is, a dream come true for Solomon Islands, where Solomon Islands musicians in particular have been, urging for something that, a mechanism that can be put in place to help, look after their rights and ensure that they get the relevant benefits that they need. For the government, this is a great achievement, and the Ministry of Culture and Tourism and the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs are taking that obligation in helping our people, and especially our artists and the musicians in particular, to get the relevant benefits that they need.
Now the first things to do now is to set up our office in place, put our office in order, and then we'll begin by doing public awareness for the public, educating our people about the importance of the CMO and the Copyright Act. So I think that's the first things for the CMO to work on. We work on awareness for the public, getting the public on to understand what the CMO will stand for before we start rolling out relevant fees or whatever to apply. But for now, I think it's just about awareness.
Popular musician and artist Toxi Pauline, when interviewed, also shared his thoughts on the new initiative, expressing hope that CIPRO will bring a long overdue recognition and protection for the creative works of musicians.
It is actually a stepping stone for the country. In the music industry, like for us, we also have been work before. Yeah, if I look at them kind of organization and stuck along, people end up with the outside organizations like SACEM France, go New Caledonia, some people sign up with them APRA. Me looking most information lo CIPRO. It's a benefit for the younger generations. So the younger generations must look very serious into the formation of CIPRO, because every rights blue but protected me.
The launch of CIPRO marks a historic step forward for the Solomon Islands music industry, finally giving artists and musicians a dedicated body to protect their creative rights and ensure fair compensation. I'm Simon Tawake for SIBC TV.
Solomon Islands joined countries around the world yesterday to celebrate World Bee Day 2025, with the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock highlighting the vital role of bees in sustaining agriculture and the environment. Alex Dadamo reports.
Solomon Islands joined the rest of the world yesterday, May 20th, to celebrate the World Bee Day 2025. The event, organized by the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, was attended by students and stakeholders in Honiara. In his remarks at the event, Minister of Agriculture and Livestock Honorable Franklin Derek Wasi said the day aims to highlight the critical role that bees and other pollinators play in sustaining the environment and agriculture.
This is not just a day celebration, it is a powerful reminder of the vital role that bees and other pollinators play in our ecosystems, our food systems, and our very survival. Each year on the May 20th, countries around the world together honor the humble bee, small in size, yet mighty in impact. Today, we join the global community in recognizing the importance of the bees to the biodiversity, food security, sustainable agriculture, and economic development.
Honorable Wasi called on youths to take interest in beekeeping, not only as a way to earn an income, but to care for the environment.
Our young people are the future stewards of our natural resources. I urge our youth to take an interest in beekeeping, not only as a way to earn income, but also as a way to care for our environment and contribute to the nation's food security. Let us work together in support beekeeping clubs in schools, provide training in rural areas, and link young beekeepers to markets and technology.
Meanwhile, Solomon Islands Small Business Enterprise Center, SIBC Project Coordinator Rodney Suibaya urged struggling bee farmers to reach out to them if they need support.
If you want a bee farmer, you're struggling, you like, get them support in terms of finance or business advice, come. And me like say happy International Bee Day, or every bee farmers and all people bring me to Solomon Island. Make sure you must keep him, you must love him bees, yeah. No good time bees come around the house, you spray him mortin or you kill him. Not doing that one. Or the pollinators blame me now, or keep him ecosystem blame me for I'm alive.
The World Bee Day serves as a reminder of the challenges these vital creatures face, such as habitat loss, climate change, and pesticide use, which threaten their populations and consequently global food security. Alex Dadamu for SIBC TV.
Residents of Honiara City were recently stunned by the alleged murder of 24-year-old Stephanus Wainamo, a young man with big dreams. The tragic incident has reignited public discourse on the growing crime rates in the capital, including the challenges faced by youths.
It's an unfortunate situation where probably Mr. Stephanus can go through and the families and the alleged perpetrators, you may say, other young people too. Yeah? So my thought on this was mainly around how our structures are not really, let me say, effective at this point. And I think it has to do with frustration at these different structures that exist. Yeah? So from family level to community to institution level now. And then when we talk about policies, that is a different discussion where I'm involving systemic change.
President of the Malaita Provincial Youth Council, Philip Subu, condemns the incident amidst reports stating that the suspects are of Malaitan descent.
The best way for mitigating youth crime is engaging young people of positive activities, engagement. A lot of time, young people don't know their sense of purpose and hope. No anyone for leading Mogata, no anyone for guiding Mogata, no anyone for engaging Mogata. And the only way for taking attention of big people is also must do something. By hitting people for people take notice Mogata. So very important that we must positively engage young people, sports, music, and engaging more in employment. Solutions are there. We just need the right resources to do things. Population of country is still small. We no inside law million set for me big to mass no more. We just need to set our priorities right, and then we engage our young people, mitigate motor from crime.
The growing number of young people involved in criminal activity is a major concern for citizens. This antisocial behavior is driven by ongoing challenges such as high rates of school dropouts and youth unemployment.
Data have shown that, we have a high level of high school dropouts in the past years. I think in 2019 alone, we got over 40,000 dropouts. So if you accumulate that number of beginning where dropout from school to now, you may look low numbers where you may Barcelona fry team too. Yeah? So I can tell you that a lot of young people are at home. When there is lack of opportunity, you have exist not just jobs, but alternative opportunities, alternative income source. Have not available, then Lodiana by me looking young people at a struggle or a challenge, and then they detour. But I think in the past this one exists too. Yeah. The cases like murder, cases like drug abuse, and all of this exist come long time. But I guess over the years, him go with him numbers now. Yeah, and no happen a small chunk of communities, but it's everywhere.
We like for strongly condemn this fella senseless violence. This fella killing him not representing the values of all the young people of Malaita. We have many young people from Malaita province where law-abiding citizens of country and like live in peace and enjoy peace and freedom of country. And also like pursue to dreams and goals for contribute by development Malaita province and country. And also me like for young people Malaita who stay Honiara, come back home, learn him stay no more and resources him stay for you come back and utilize him. Also me like all the chiefs, church leaders, tribal leaders, community leaders who from Malaita province, especially those who stay low settlements Honiara, for me must also come together and for addressing what issues here.
SIBC News understands a peace offering of $10,000 and 2 shell money was presented during a customary ceremony this week, calling for peace and unity. The Ministry of Culture and Tourism, together with Tourism Solomons, is working on improving the Solomon Airlines Brisbane Munda route in Western Province. Alex Dadamo reports.
The Ministry of Culture and Tourism, together with Tourism Solomons, is working on improving the Solomon Airlines Brisbane Munda route in the Western Province. Minister for Tourism Honourable Choylin Douglas said this in Parliament today when responding to questions raised about the success and profitability of the Brisbane Munda flight route. She said the ministry is supporting initiatives and investments within the Munda Economic Centre.
My ministry, together with Tourism Solomons, continues to play an active role in supporting the success of the Munda route. The ministry is working on improving tourism product offerings on the ground by supporting investment within the Greater Munda Hub and Corridor. This includes initiatives to enhance accommodation facilities, develop new experiences and improve infrastructure to create a more attractive destination for visitors. In addition, the Ministry through the Visitors Bureau is assisting existing tourism operators with their marketing campaigns, both domestically and internationally, to raise the profile of Munda and generate increased demand to travel to the area. These efforts are part of our broader strategy to create demand, drive up visitor numbers, and ultimately ensure the long-term success of the Brisbane Munda service.
Honourable Douglas adds the ministry hopes to continue with the support to provide the necessary stability to the tourism sector to allow for a more profitable flight route.
We hope to continue with the underwriting support to provide the necessary stability to maintain international connectivity while these investments take effect. The good news is that the route has shown steady passenger growth throughout 2024 and is expected to continue this year with the opening of the Auckland route, and the government is committed to support Solomon Airlines to maintain the route until it becomes a stand-alone profitable route.
Alex Dadamu for SIBC TV.
A 2-day workshop on intellectual property hosted by the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs has successfully concluded in Honiara. The event brought together key stakeholders to explore and better understand pressing intellectual property issues relevant to the Solomon Islands. Simon Tavake reports.
The Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs, with the support from Australia Solomon Islands Partnership ASIP, successfully concluded a 2-day workshop on intellectual property IP yesterday. The workshop, which began on Monday this week, brought together key stakeholders to raise awareness and deepen understanding of intellectual property issues relevant to the Solomon Islands. Speaking to local media, Registrar General of the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs, Sholto Manebosa, said the workshop served as an important platform for stakeholders to better understand the current status of IP laws in the country.
There's a 2-day workshop currently mifala holen for stakeholders. We started yesterday and by complete today. Basically the purpose of the workshop for talk with stakeholders within government and the private sector, just for let them sabe what na current status below or the IP laws believe especially dealing with trademarks, copyrights, patents and industrial designs. And so it's reaching out to our stakeholders, not only for them for have those information, but for Mifal too, for Save, who not stakeholders for Mifala. Yeah? When we talk about the IP space, who are people, organizations, and other government ministries that you may need for reach out, Logata, talk with them, collaborate, so that we can move IP forward lo country.
Music artist and designer Selwyn Dooro highlighted the significance of the workshop in raising much needed awareness among participants.
These workshops are very, very important because they bring a lot of awareness lo vocabulary, especially the creative practitioners lo this creative industry. Because lo past a lot of artists have no come into knowledge about the other things here. So there's no awareness. So William this one very important. To me it's very important because there are a lot of questions were unanswered for quite a while. Lo this workshop here also start for answered, and when we look into why not these things have no favorable for obstacle lot artists. It will be the rights of as an individual, as a producer, cultural practitioner, and producing that piece of artwork where you as an artist or as a musician where you producing that one is important because IP that will right below you as an individual artist. Understanding also stuck artist need to start. So this is one of the things when we find that very important. This one is understanding right below you as an artist.
Simon Tavake, SIBC TV.
And that's news. Follow us on sibconline.com.sb and our SIBC News Facebook page for more of our latest stories. Thanks for watching.